Yeah, I want to put something out that, I don't actually say a lot about the coins, but I think there's a lot, well, let me put it this way. Definitely, there's a lot more safety in the coins than there is in the ETFs or any other types of funds out there. Because when they're talking about the price manipulation of the commodities and silver, oil, gold, you name it, there's always price manipulation going on. And they can only manipulate so far, but when it comes to the actual physical product, forget about it. Say, for instance, I don't expect silver to go down below 18 now because it seems like it's shown a lot of support there. And we may have a run-up in the price of silver in the first quarter of, 2014. And it depends on how fast it gets up ahead of itself. It might come back down and maybe come back up. It never stays in a straight line. It's not a steady thing. No commodities are. But if you actually bought any ETFs or anything like that, I don't really want to state what to do. But, my always thing is if you got a good gain, good buy. That's the way I look at it. If you try to hold on too long, it depends. It depends because there's no golden rule on anything. But some of the people talking about, the $15, $8, $10 silver, I could say this. You ain't going to be able to get coins if silver ever went to $10. Forget it. It's not going to happen. That's why it's almost like a sure bet now to buy silver around this $20 range or $19 range in coins. It's almost a sure bet. It's if there's a manipulation, it may be a fast dive, and there'll be all kinds of buyers in there, but you are not going to be able to hoard coins at that particular point in time. So that's where I think the real safety is right now, in the coins themselves. And the physical products is actually going to be the way to fight the powers that be, as we always say. A lot of people always say, like, what are we going to do about, the banksters and all this kind of stuff? And that's part of the reason. But, it's like they cannot control what they cannot see. That's really what your part of the physical world is about. Because, in other words, when they're looking at and trying to control people, these elitists or whatever the hell it is, or extract more wealth out of people, they have to see on the numbers what it is that they're trying to manipulate or control. But if people all have physical goods, they don't know. They don't know. And the other thing is, it's almost like you can have the hidden economy out there too. A lot of videos I put out on how to do things, or maybe how to save a couple dollars here or there, or pinch on something or whatever, or maybe have some type of financial benefit through doing something a different way or something or whatever. These little how-to videos I put out there sometimes. All that is stuff they can't see. In other words, it's there, it exists, it actually helps you, but they can't manipulate it because they can't look at a computer screen and say, this is what we got to do and this is how we got to plan it. It's stuff they don't see. And that worries them. That worries the people that are the control freaks on the top. Very intelligent people, but it's kind of like not a set defined class. It's usually that type of person that gets into that type of stuff. But that's a good way to fight a lot of things out there, a lot of freaking problems where people's independence is being whittled away. If you can actually, the thing is, if you could be independent physically, in other words, you have methods of getting everything on your own without using electronic systems that much. Say, for instance, you were good at growing food and you had a way to produce electricity through solar methods or whatever, or you had a running stream or something like that. They can use a little hydroelectric thing or something. That type of stuff has a lot of benefit because people on the top, you see, in other words, if I assign a number to it, if I assigned a number to food growing. And I said, I'm growing this amount of food, and I have, this is my income, and I put it as income. Don't give the IRS any ideas now. In other words, if you have a garden and you grow food, maybe someday you're going to call that an income, But how would they measure that? How would they measure that? You know what I'm saying? See, stuff you have physically that you can produce like that, they can't really control. And see, that's the whole key to freaking fighting the the Illuminati, the elite, the power freaks, or whatever the hell it is. That's why the physical silver is actually a lot safer now. Because, I know silver went down a little bit today, right? I don't think it's going to, like, plummet all the way down or anything like that. But, the thing is, if it did, no way in hell would most people be able to get coins. They'd be out of luck. So, in other words, that price would be not reality. It could be maybe a fast wave, if you had, if it went down on the electronic markets to half the price it is now and went below $10, you know what? You would be able to maybe make a killing buying it at that time. I don't think it's going to there, though, because, a lot of times these electronic markets, even though they're manipulated, there's only a certain amount of manipulation that can go on. Actually, the price right now is manipulated below where the mines are making money. So, even buying electronically is pretty safe. But your real safety is in the physical goods. The physical goods, and actually the physical goods is actually what's going to keep you from, getting controlled by the elitist. The physical goods. Actually, a lot of times, I guess if you look back at ancient history or something, or even recent history, the American Indians used to say this, we had it all great. We had free hunting, all the fish we can have, until the white man came along and they started making up all these rules. They says, yeah, this land belongs to this person here. It's got this much value. And, if you have crops, it's cost this much, and you put assigned numbers to everything. It's kind of funny because, a lot of ways, it's like you're looking at tree bark and you're not looking at the overall picture, because you can assign numbers to anything. You can assign numbers to anything. A guy can go to some part of the world that, they say all this land is worthless. And, all of a sudden, you can actually assign a number to it. You say, how much is this actually worth? This is worth, and this is worth, and this is worth. And assign numbers to it. And all of a sudden, it's worth this much money. This much money. And as long as you got it, it's a game. And that's really what's keeping the elite on the top. Because basically, where is the actual power of the elite? Where is the fraction of 1% who controls most of America's wealth in theory? Where are they really connected with? The banking and finance system. The people who assign numbers. Now, if you own stuff physically, if you have benefits from something physically, if you have your own garden, you have your own way of producing electricity and things like that, what happens there? It doesn't really have a number assigned to it, but you actually have the actual item that's producing you some kind of benefit. You see, in other words, it's something they can't control. They don't like that because they can't pull it up on their computer screen and say, let's see how we can screw this person over or whatever. You know what I mean? They look at these numbers all the time. They look at that. They got to look at the numbers. But the thing is, if they don't see the numbers, they don't know. In other words, and that is why you want to have physical coins too. You understand? A lot of people think of it as a get-rich scheme, but it's also you're staying outside of the garbage that is actually putting a control on people and is squeezing people, bleeding them dry. It's going to come out that, the basic wisdom of the American Indians is going to be correct. 110% correct. It's like, it's, maybe not going to come out in an idealistic way, but we're probably going to go back a little bit the way things were before America became discovered. It might be a little bit different. Because the only way to shake off the actual, the elite that's on the top that's basically screwing over the middle class is for the middle class to get right down to grassroots again. And, that's the reason I'm saying that you're probably a lot safer in physical silver than you are in the electronic accounts. Okay? And that actually goes for anything out there. So, I'm going to continue to put out some more videos on these type of how-to videos and stuff in a more practical way, because this is where you can have a financial benefit, but it's not going to show up on paper. It's not going to show up on paper. And I found some of these agricultural farmers and things like that are some of the shrewdest people going. Oh my God, they could be walking around like, hillbilly nothing, and that's because they don't assign values to what's in there. That's actually stuff that's growing out of the ground. They don't actually assign values to it. They only own the land, and they bought it 30 years ago for like practically peanuts, and it's only when you go to sell something is it worth it. Does a number come out? Does a number come out? And see, that is why you want to own physical silver. Understand that. Understand that. Okay? So that's, you see, in other words, the control freaks look at the numbers a lot. If they don't see the numbers, they don't see what you have, they don't know what's going on, they don't understand the financial benefit you're getting from something, it's not there as far as they know. See, the whole idea is stealth. That's how you break the elite. That's how you break the elite. So anyway, stick with physical silver over electronic. I just want to emphasize that, because I don't think there's actually going to be a price decrease. I know some people may be panicking today because there's been a little bit of a drop in price. I don't think it's going to drop that much. I actually expect in the first quarter they're going to be coming up with budget problems, and it may spike up. And it depends on how fast or how much it spikes up in the first quarter of 2014. It just ain't going to go like this and then go like that. It'll come back down and maybe go up again. But the thing is, they cannot actually manipulate what's coming out of the mines. They keep dropping the price of silver, there's less coming out of the mines. It's that simple. There's less being produced. They keep dropping the price of silver, there's less of silver available. Yeah, there might be a gazillion tons of silver out there on the entire earth, but it's not coming out of the ground for that price. That's the thing. I always like to be like a little bit of a wise ass and say, yeah, it's $20 an ounce. Okay, here's the shovel. You go dig it out. Once you dig it out and you make the coin and it's a finished product and you do all the work on it, I'll give you a $20 fiat toilet paper bill for that, and there you go. I like to see like a bankster do that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. You see, when you put it to like them like that, it's like, forget it. And that's why you want to stay in with physical everything, because it's almost going back to old school all the way. And if you really go back old school, it's probably going to go back to the way the American Indians were. That's really, if you actually went back to the ways before, the white man came on to America, I'm not saying the white man's bad or anything like that in all these respects, because basically it is the white man that's getting screwed over here, that's middle class America, that is getting screwed over by these elitist types, But, it's actually the solution is going more back to the way the American Indians had. Actually, some of their ways is probably a lot smarter and more wise than you ever thought of, and actually even looking into the medical aspects of herbs and stuff like that. If they assigned a value to these herbs, they'd be astronomical. But if they can control them, they can control these herbs, right? But the thing is, if you can grow them, you control them. You control them. So you just remember that physical goods counts. Physical goods keeps you independent. And that's why physical silver is part of that strategy. It keeps the number freaks from really knowing exactly what you have, and they can't control that. If they don't know, they can't control it. So Rocky Caesar Balboa, he's like an American Indian. He kind of just studying the situation. He doesn't trust it. You shouldn't trust anything, especially when the carpetbaggers come down from Wall Street, Those are the ones of the original white man that stole all the land, right? You understand that, right?
Reminds me of an American Indian in a way. Sitting up there nice and proud, sitting on his rock computer or whatever the hell it is under the shelf, right? So anyway, over and out, because you can see that's a sign of affection right there. See that? See that? It's coming around.